good, JForce? We're back to another reaction, and we are looking at GameSpot's talking about the huge change in Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I'm ready to see what it looks like. It's not apparently she's not gonna have much footage. It makes sense not have much footage of the Legendary Edition, but she will show you which one. Well, let's watch the video. We're about to look at this, see if we can see any differences going to be shown. See if any upgrades to the gameplay will be happening. One thing I did hear that the end, which makes sense, it's just a remaster, it's not a remake. But they did say they're the ending is still gonna be the same. Mass Effect 3 ending is still gonna be the same, so you won't have like maybe ending where Shepard doesn't die. Yeah, so that's still gonna be a thing. So because it's just a remaster, it's not like it can't really change an ending when you're doing a remaster, a remake, of course. But let's check this out. All right, and go.
Hey, I'm Lucy, and I love Mass Effect. Now,
I do
recently
too.
I sat in
Ah,
an
Lucy.
hour-long presentation with BioWare about the upcoming Mass Effect remaster, and afterwards talked to key members of the dev team. You'll be pleased to hear I asked very nitpicky questions and have compiled all the big details
I have some nitpicks too
into this exhaustive list.
Like, can I put my gun down in Mass Effect 3?
As much as I do, please consider subscribing. We have an exclusive interview
That was a
with
pet peeve of
Walters
mine, not lying.
about the creation of Mass Effect 2's iconic suicide mission.
Hey,
He even talks about some cut
that was a pet peeve.
so
I'm not
big
lying.
fan
Yeah.
like I am, you'll get a lot.
The fact that you run
I'm
around,
not gonna have
no,
a lot of footage
nobody
of
shooting, my
the
gun's still
legendary
out. Like,
here,
come on.
So I will mark when it is and isn't the legendary edition.
Okay. Like, let me put that in my
Alright,
gun.
let's kick off with the big stuff.
Hate
Gameplay
that.
changes to modernize Mass Effect 1.
Nitpicky, but it
Let's
hurts
start
my
with
nerves.
combat. There's improved aim assist where the lock-on is a little bit
Okay,
stickier.
Mass Effect
and you
original
can now
PC.
keep locked onto targets while you're strafing. There's finally a dedicated melee button, and yes, weapons have been balanced and tuned across the trilogy.
That's good.
But definitely more so in 1. A huge change in combat is that they've removed class-based weapon restrictions and aim penalties. That means you can't train in weapons your class isn't specialized in, but you can still use them without being penalized. What about that inventory system, though? Well, it's still being worked on at the moment, but from the way they were talking about it,
Did I
I
read
wouldn't
the
expect
inventory
big sweeping
I think
changes.
so.
There is going to be a more unified control scheme across all 3 games, though. You can still issue commands to your squad mates, and BioWare is improving those controls in Mass Effect 1 to be more in line with how they feel in Mass Effect 2. Squad AI is being improved, so if you send your squad mates over to cover, they will actually get in cover now. They're also improving enemy AI, so hopefully that means
original.
that now every time we come across
Okay,
an enemy,
okay.
we get completely
I see you
brushed
doing a
by
little.
them.
To see the
The
extra
HUD now
details.
is more modern, cleaner, and a bit smaller.
Ooh.
It's not right on the edges of the screen anymore, it's
Okay.
a little bit further in. I
Okay.
did see some test footage where they were clearly toying with changing it to be more in line with Mass Effect 2 and 3, but they dropped that. It's the same Mass Effect 1 HUD, just cleaner. Animations haven't been outright changed, but they have bug fixed a lot of them. So the example that BioWare gave was a lot of the times characters weren't necessarily looking exactly where they were supposed to.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Input camera and cover systems have also been smooth to try and eliminate some of that wonkiness you can get in Mass Effect 1. And speaking of wonkiness, the Mako has had a few touch-ups to make it easier to control,
Oh.
which I'm a little bit sad about because I love that awkward old thing. But I can see why a lot of people want it. There's a ton of other
I didn't
small
hate it.
changes that I absolutely won't have footage for, so I'm just going to rattle through them quickfire style. In-scope aim smoothing, cover pass, rebalanced XP for the level 60 cap, which means that you don't have to do it in New Game Plus. A more consistent autosave, thank God.
Yes.
Improvements to boss encounters, improved cooldown for first aid. Minigames are also being unified across all platforms. You might remember that console had a weird Simon Says thing, and PC had a ring thing. That's going to be unified, but I'm not sure which one we're going to be getting just yet. They also said they're going to be decreasing the difficulty and frequency of those minigames. So fingers crossed they'll do the same for Mass Effect 2 for the safe opening and hacking stuff, because too much.
One of the things that annoyed me the absolute most was the autosave. Oh, the autosave was so bad. Because it was, there are points of the game where I thought, I'm an autosave, right? I remember I got to a certain part of a mission, I got kind of far, but I died, right? And I started from way back to the beginning of the mission. I'm like, what the frick? No, man. I made me so upset. I was so upset. That's why I was like, every time I start Mass Effect 1 over, I had to always make sure once I beat some bad guys, I save right after that. You can't save while you're taking out enemies, so you have to do it after that. So I did that every time because it was so annoying. I hate having to do that. I'll say was so awkward. And right here, so I'm here and go.
Okay, that was a lot of gameplay changes for Mass Effect 1, so let's move to the rest of the trilogy.
Story content.
Particular story. Is there going to be additional story content added?
I don't think so.
No.
Of course
The
not.
devs did look at what was on the cutting room floor, but unfortunately the stuff that was cut from the games couldn't easily be put back in for the remaster. They would need to have been built from scratch, so nothing new in the game. However, if you'd like a look at some of the stuff that did get cut, including never-before-seen characters, subscribe for our interview with Mac Walters. I've got 2 words for you. Techno-hippie. Elephant in the room time. Which ending will you get? Well, upon finishing Mass Effect 3 in the Legendary Edition, you will be presented with the Extended Cut. Max said the Extended Cut provides a lot more context, and to him, is part of the canon. There's now a universal character creator across all 3 games, which means that customization options that were added in Mass Effect 2 and 3 are now available to you in Mass Effect 1.
Okay.
They also added some new makeup, skin tones, and hairstyles, including more black hairstyles.
Let's go!
A unified female Commander Shepard across the trilogy. The FemShep design wasn't finalized until Mass Effect 3, so retroactively adding her back into Mass Effects 1 and 2 was one of the first things the team did when they approached the remaster.
Okay.
They adjusted her slightly, modifying that very powerful jawline and adding things like wrinkles and pores.
Okay.
Alright, the big techie one. How is this baby gonna look and run? Well, it'll be playable in 4K HDR at 60
Yeah, I don't
frames
have
per
4K.
second if you're playing on PS4 Pro, Xbox One X, PS5, Xbox Series. On PC though, those frame rates will be unleashed. There'll be faster load times across all platforms.
Of course, because
So what does that mean for our beloved elevators? Which is a weird sentence to say, but elevators are so big in Mass Effect. It means that they've actually added a button, so once the level has loaded in, you can press it and skip the elevator rides if you want to. But that music...
I kind of like the elevator rides.
In terms of visual improvements,
I kind of like the elevator
you
rides,
name
though.
it, and there is a decent chance they've probably done it. For textures, they used an AI upres program to upscale texture resolution 4 times. That's across the board, but some textures even got improved up to 16 times. In Mass Effect 1,
16 times the
pretty much
detail.
Every character, armor, outfit, and weapon were hand-touched and up-resed. We got to see a bunch of them in the presentation, and a few that really stuck out to me were Zaid's face. Like, that man looked weathered. You could see every wrinkle. The eye bags were so defined. He looked like a different character. It was really cool. Thane as well. The scales on his head just looked really, really good.
Okay.
Another thing that they fixed that really stood out to me, even though it's so small, is they fixed eyelashes. So in particular, Ashley, girl, that clumpy mascara has gone. Like, it looks so much better. So when it comes to the actual levels themselves, everything was up-resed with the AI, and then the human artists went in and made subtle tweaks and changes to give all the levels a little bit more life. The dig site at Eden Prime, they moved the sun around, so you get the light coming through the trees. It looked really, really cool.
Nice.
Pharos, for example, was so much more rich in detail, and Vermeer, all the water around there looked actually like water. It looked way more realistic, so I think they did a great job. If you want a full list of the tech stuff that they have gone in and tweaked and changed or maybe added to, then I've got you. They've made changes to tone mapping, anti-aliasing, volumetric and fog, depth of field and bloom, bokeh depth of field, which they said was to enhance
I might understand.
art style.
I know none of these
still
words.
surface scattering on the skin, ambient occlusion, which was actually only on in very, very select scenes in Mass Effect 3. It's now present across the whole trilogy, and there's probably other stuff in that list that I didn't note down, forgot to mention, but they've made a lot of changes. There's a brand new launcher to start all 3 games from one place. At this screen, you can pick which game to play, watch the credits,
Okay, so like
the profile.
it's like the Uncharted
Xbox
3
even uninstalled
trilogy.
specific Games.
Uncharted
Not sure why,
Uncharted 3.
that's up to you.
Uncharted
They do have
trilogy
Genesis comics.
collection.
When you finish one game, you get brought back to this screen, and then you select the next one. You don't
Okay.
just roll over into the next game. It's not one unified experience.
The good.
The collection contains over 40 pieces of downloadable content.
Nice.
So that's story packs, armors, weapons, and alternate outfits. So yes, that does mean you've got the Dragon Age armor in there, as well as the
My
Genesis
favorite armor.
comics. However, there's one piece of DLC missing, and that is Pinnacle Station from Mass Effect 1. Now, if you played Mass Effect 1 on PS3,
I never got the
you
DLC for
might
Mass Effect
remember
1.
The Pinnacle Station wasn't there. And it was actually because the source data was corrupted.
Oh, man.
Mac about this, and it's the exact same reason here, unfortunately. Which might have consequences for achievements and trophies, but they weren't talking about that. Mass Effect 3 multiplayer didn't make it into the Legendary Edition. We knew that. However, according to project director Mac Walters, it was apparently on the table at the very beginning, but it would have been so difficult to implement. He actually likened the amount of effort it would take to put multiplayer in this collection to be on par with what it took to uplift the whole of Mass Effect 1. So it got cut. So how does Galactic
I'm cool with that. I'm
now?
free about multiplayer.
Well,
I mean,
it got
for you,
revamped.
I know you guys do,
Caveat,
but I
it's still
don't.
being tweaked right now. But Mac was saying that it's much easier to get the best ending if you play through Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. However, if you just play Mass Effect 3, you can still get the best ending. You just have to really max out everything.
Ah.
Still being tweaked. PC players are gonna get a couple of nice little additions, and you won't believe it. Controller support. Finally.
For PC play, I'm PlayStation,
No
so.
more mods. There'll be DirectX.
So it don't affect me at all. I got
21.9
PlayStation.
support, and like I mentioned earlier,
4,
an
not
unleashed
5.
frame rate. There's no ray tracing in the Legendary Edition, but there are real-time reflections. So the quick explainer on this one is that Mass Effect Trilogy was made in Unreal Engine 3, and the effort that it would have taken to bring it into Unreal Engine 4 would have been way too much for this project. But what they can do now is they can leverage the more powerful consoles and PCs, and in each scene basically set up a second camera and render the sequence twice, and that's what they can use for the dynamic real-time reflections. Very cool. PS5 and Xbox Series stuff now. When we talked to BioWare, they didn't believe that there was going to be Tempest 3D audio support for PlayStation 5, but they did say improvements have been made at the asset level on sound effects. So in particular, they mentioned the weapons and guns, and all those sound effects will have been improved at the asset level, not necessarily at the system support level. Also, kind of sad, but there is no special DualSense stuff. There isn't quick resume. There's also no photo mode, but they were saying what they were doing instead was leveraging the power of the new generation of consoles and PCs to make all those load times way, way, way faster. I wasn't lying when I said that would be an exhaustive list of everything in the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. If you love Mass Effect as much as I do, I know I've said it like twice now, but seriously, you do want to watch the interview with Mac Walters, so subscribe and stick around for that. I'm on Twitter at LucyJamesGames if you want to come talk about Garrus Vicarian with me, and if you don't, then I should go.
I like you, Lucy. You cool. You cool. Yeah, ED. Well, alright. Well, there you guys have it, man. That is a lot of info. There's some things that she mentioned, like ambient stuff, something. I'm like, I know none of what that means. What does that mean? I have no idea. Don't even ask. Don't even ask me. I just put the controller and play a game. I'd be like, ooh, that's pretty colors. That's me. Ooh, that's a pretty color. Ooh, the lighting is so great, and I don't know about the ambiance of it. I don't know about all big words. I'm like, okay, ray tracing. I still know what that means. But this also probably tells me. Now it sounds to me. It's not necessarily. I mean, I think it would look better for PS. I think it would look good for PS5, Xbox, and all that. So it's telling me either one, have to really try to get PS5 by May, or two, it's play on PS4. I mean, I could get on PS4 and still get on PS5 later, because you know how it is. Because you get the download version, get upgraded later. So hopefully I can do that. But yeah, it looks good so far. What I'm hearing sounds good. It's like an extended ending, so we'll see what that's gonna be about. I never played the Mass Effect 1 DLC because when I got the Mass Effect trilogy, I only got DLCs for 3, I think. I don't even think I got DLCs for Mass Effect 2. Did I get it? No. I only got the DLC for Mass Effect 3 when I had bought it. I think, yeah. I wasn't able to get the ones for Mass Effect 1 or 2. I didn't, because I was still the money, and I was like, what do I want? What seems interesting? What seems like would be cool to have? What do I care to have? Citadel DLC is still my favorite, man. Citadel DLC is still my absolute favorite. I just love I love the energy there. I love the party at the end. You know, I like how they say you can do a cool part, a calm part, or a popping party. I would go for the popping party. I would go for the popping party. Yeah. So on that, this is good. I might check out the other video she talk about on my own though. I'm not gonna do reaction to that. I just want to do this for this one to see what he changes work. But all right, y'all, that's it for this video. We're done. I'll see you guys in the next reaction. Peace.